Showdoag, the untold story of building Nike. A crazy idea can become a billion-dollar empire. Imagine this: a shy young man, no powerful family, no huge money, no business experience, just one strange idea. What if Japan can make running shoes cheaper and better than Germany? That one idea became Nike. And this book is not written like a business textbook. It feels like a war diary, a startup thriller, a survival story, and an emotional journey of a man trying not to fail. The author of the author of this book is Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. He calls this book Shoe Dog because shoe dogs are people completely obsessed with shoes and running culture. Why this book feels different? Most billionaire books sound polished. This one doesn't. Phil Knight openly talks about fear, debt, confusion, panic, betrayals, lawsuits, near bankruptcy, and self doubt. Many times, Nike was just days away from collapse. Yet today, it became one of the biggest sports brand in the world. That what makes this book powerful. Part 1: The beginning of a dream. A lost young man. After college and military service, Phil Knight had no clear direction in life. Many people, he felt confused, restless, and afraid of becoming ordinary. He wanted adventure, so he traveled around the world. The first big insight: while studying business, he wrote a paper. Japanese shoes could replace German shoes the same way Japanese cameras replaced German cameras. At the time, German brands like Adidas ruled the market. Running culture was growing. Shoes were expensive. Phil sensed an opportunity. That single college assignment became Nike. The courage movement. One day in Japan, he visited a shoe company called Onitsuka Tiger, which later became ASICS. Even though he had no company, he boldly lied and said, I represent an American shoe distributor. That fake confidence changed his life. The Japanese company agreed to give him distribution rights in America. Lesson: sometimes life changes because you acted before feeling ready. Part 2: Starting with almost nothing. Phil started the company from his parents' basement. A tiny amount of money and pure uncertainty. The original company name was Blue Ribbon Sports. He sold shoes directly from his car trunk at running events. Imagine this: no office, no brand power, no employees, no certainty, just belief. The hidden struggle nobody sees. This section of the book is incredibly emotional. People think successful companies grow smoothly. Nike didn't. Phil constantly faced cash shortages, bank pressure, supplier issues, lawsuits, employee stress, and panic attacks. The company was growing, but growth itself became dangerous. The most important startup lesson: sales do not equal profit. Nike sold more and more shoes, but they still had no money. Why? Because they needed inventory, shipping cost money, banks delayed support, and growth consumed cash. This is one of the biggest realities in business. A growing company can still die. Part 3: the power of crazy teams. One beautiful thing about this book: Nike was built by strange, passionate people. Phil hired people who loved running, hated corporate culture, and believed in the mission. These employees were not normal workers, they were believers. The track coach who changed Nike. Meet Bill Bowerman, a legendary running coach. He was obsessed with making athletes faster. He experimented with shoes constantly. One day, he famously used a waffle iron, rubber, and creativity to invent a new shoe soul. That became one of the Nike's biggest breakthrough. The real meaning of the great companies. The book teaches great companies are not built only on money. They built on obsession, mission, culture, and identity. Nike became more than shoes. It became ambition, rebellion, athletic spirit, and winning mentality. Part 4, Near Death Experiences. This part reads like a thriller movie. Nike repeatedly almost collapsed. The bank betrayed them. Banks didn't trust Nike. Even after huge sales growth, Phil constantly feared payroll failure, bankruptcy, and losing everything. Sometimes he couldn't sleep. Imagine building a $1 billion future while secretly terrified daily. The government battle. Nike faced investigations and import issues. At one point, the government demanded huge payments. It could have destroyed the company. Phil describes overwhelming stress. He kept moving forward. One powerful truth from the book: entrepreneurship is emotional warfare. People only see success, fame, money. They don't see fear, loneliness, uncertainty, and exhaustion. This book shows the hidden side. Part 5, Birth of Nike. Eventually, the company needed a new identity. The name Nike came from the Greek goddess of victory. At first, Phil Knight didn't even love the name, but it became iconic. The famous logo story that a design student created the famous swoosh logo for a tiny payment. Nobody knew it would become one of the most recognized logos in history. Lesson: History often starts looking small. Part 6, The emotional core of the book. This book is not really about shoes, it is about finding meaning through struggle. Phil Knight kept going because he loved the mission, he loved the game, and he didn't want a boring life. One line captures the spirit of the book: the cowards never started, and the weak died along the way. That line explains entrepreneurship perfectly. Deep lessons from Shoe Dog. Start before you feel ready. Phil had no experience, no money, no certainty, but he started. Most dreams die because people wait for perfect timing. Your life changes through small decisions. A single meeting in Japan changed everything. Tiny movements create massive futures. Persistent beats talent. Nike survived because Phil refused to quit again and again. Build a mission, not just a business. People joined Nike emotionally. Mission attracts loyal people. Fear never fully disappears. Even though successful people feel scared, confidence is often action despite fear. Confidence is often action despite fear. Why this book connects deeply with readers? Because it feels real. Phil Knight doesn't act like superhero. He feels human. You see his confusion, awkwardness, mistakes, and vulnerability. That honest makes the story powerful. Nike almost died multiple times. Imagine saying one of the world's big companies nearly collapsed again and again. Its founder lied in a meeting just to get a chance. He sold shoes from the trunk of his car. Banks nearly destroyed his dream. Psychological lesson hidden inside the book. Identity creates energy. Phil wasn't motivated only by money. He identified himself as a runner, a competitor, and a builder. Identity creates a long term discipline. Obsession beats motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Obsession stays. Nike was built through obsession, meaning reduces suffering. When struggle has purpose, humans tolerate unbelievable pressure. That's why founders survive chaos. Most emotional part of the book. Some emotional moments include employee loyalty, fear of failure, business betrayals, and personal losses. The book becomes deeply human toward the end. The final message of the book: don't live too safely. Phil Knight. Life message is better to struggle for something meaningful than live comfortably without purpose. Thank you. If you like, please share to your loved ones. Have a nice day.